All right. Says we're live. I'll take that as actually being live. Hey, everybody. How's it going today? Really excited for this conversation. This is the first time I've done one of these conversations before. And I'm really excited to bring on my guest today, Sarad. Sarad lives in California.
Everyone.
Um, so Sarad and I have been working together in coaching for basically over a year now. We had a break in between, and I really wanted to give Sarad the opportunity to come on, share the experience that he's had, some of the breakthroughs that have happened for him, and really just get a chance to know him, get a chance to
Yeah.
experience the person that I get to experience on a weekly basis, and just see what he's up to. So, welcome, Sarad. Thanks for being willing to do this, and thanks for jumping
Thank
on
you.
tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much, Andrew. I'm really excited to be doing this here. Just coming out here, sharing my stories of, my transformation and my experience with the coaching. So I'm really grateful for, the invitation, and I'm excited to be here.
Awesome, man. Yeah. So just so you guys know, welcome to put comments in the chat bar. Probably not going to be paying as much attention to it today as we really want to have a good flowing conversation, but we'll definitely check in with the comments, and please feel free to comment on any takeaways or insights that you have from the conversation as well. So the first place I really want to start with, Sarad, is just really sharing anything from your background, your history that you feel like would be important for people to hear about. What led you to this point of life?
Yeah, that's a really nice question. So I would say, I was, person who's really interested in like personal development, and so far my learning has been like learning from whatever we get online, taking courses, the online community. And I never had like one-on-one experience. So that's how my personal development journey has been like. And so what I realized, though I was like, doing all these things, whatever I learned through, the great teachers out there in the personal development field, but I still feel like, there's something lacking, or there's something uneasiness within me, that was trying to come out, but I didn't know that. So I feel like I was doing everything that's out there, like waking up early in the morning, 5 a.m., doing workout and everything, and I was doing pretty good in my life, like I graduated with engineering degree, and I was working in software development field. I had ideas wanted to do, but I was not seeing how to possibly make things happen, and I was feeling a little uneasy as I was doing this work. And yeah, so I just to start with, I was doing all the things, and then I feel like I should get into one-on-one experience, but it was not happening until the situation I was going through last year. So
Hmm. And even before we jump into the coaching aspect of things, I'd love to hear, what were some of the things, the personal development resources you were looking at or were actually incorporating into your life, even before you're looking at coaching. That feels like a really important place to just share because you bring so much of a capacity of just knowledge and um, commitment to your growth that if we're being honest, that was happening before you even got into coaching. So I'd love to hear just a little bit on like what were some of the things you were trying out or were interested in before.
yeah, so I come from I grew up in Nepal, and cultural environment. So early on, I was installed the advice like, hey, you need to do this in your life. You gotta have goal, ambitions, go out there. And so it was like not really understanding the feelings behind what I have, but I knew kind of I had to do this and this and to get there. And
Hmm.
so when I moved to United States, for my higher studies, I went to came here for college, and then I finished my school. And so I was curious about, like, how it can make growth in life. And so that's when I started learning about, like, I wanted to understand really, like, the concrete step that I can take to develop my I, I mean, growing up, I obviously struggled with forming the discipline. It's not easy when you have like a tough mother telling you to do this and that. But so, and then I was like, as I was learning through these courses, like, I took course from, I think the first course that I took was from Mind Valley course. There was a program by Ravin Sharma, and so I was really into it. Like, I love that, the foundation that he set up about, like, waking up in the morning. So this is something I knew, but I didn't understand the benefits of doing that. So, and then I learned that, like, hey, when you wake up in the morning and then you sweat in the morning, you release the good hormones, like BDNF, and then you set the rhythm for your day, and then you spend your time to study and all these things. So I have the habit, like I was doing there. But and so, and then I did the Mind Valley, and then I did another course about designing the life that you
Hmm.
want, all those things. I think it's the course by it's called Life Book. So where you
Yep.
look into the different categories of your life, and so I really like the concept. And so, like, you work like 80/20 principles. Like, basically, you find like few areas that you really want to work, and you put work around that every day, and you see how it the other areas will also impact it. And so I kind of have background around there, but I feel like I still, well, there was some uneasiness within me, like, as I was doing that. But I wanted to, I feel like, these courses were laying a foundation that I want to build upon. But I wanted to understand what is there behind that, like, where trying to found this the solid foundation, like, what is inside there. So I wanted to understand more about myself, and where this drive was coming from, or, like, there was some tension within myself as I started to build this foundation.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and so from there, we kind of met. I believe it was either in October of 2020 or
Yeah.
November of 2020. Um, so what was that experience like, in just sort of getting, well, actually, even before we get into that part, like, what was your knowledge or experience of coaching prior to us kind of coming into conversation and going down that sort of path? Like, what was your experience of it at that point?
Honestly, at that point, I didn't have any experience of coaching. It's something, like, got me scared also. Like, I didn't know, like, what I want to expose to other person. I don't know, so I was not really open to the idea of, like, talking to someone. Because the society I grew up in, it's like, oh, you go to psychiatrist, or like any other
Hmm.
person where you need help is some, we think in an extreme way. So, and so around that time, like, I was dealing with, like, the tough situation, just to let the audience here know that, like, around that year, my father passed away. And I was having, going through a really tough time. I also lost my job around that time in the pandemic. So I was trying to find balance in the situation that I was going through, and I had no choice. And then I was learning more about, the psychological aspect of, like, how I can handle this, like, tough emotions. Like, the situation didn't I didn't choose the situation, but I was into that situation. So I wanted to come out of that knowing, like, what is the wisdom in that wound, right? So
Hmm.
so that got me, like, really trying to find the psychology aspect of it. And that's when I learned about, No More Nice Guys, because I wanted to understand the patterns that I have. I was also having tough situation with my marriage also. So I wanted to understand more about, what are the the patterns that are deeply rooted in my subconscious, so, and how my habits are formed, right? So that's when, like, I joined the group, and I think that's when I was trying to be active. There are like so many people there, like I didn't know where to go. And then, I started showing out there, and I started posting my questions. I think I read the book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, and then I commented something about that, and like, we jumped on the conversation, and then we had like direct message, and the conversation kept flowing from there. So
Hmm.
I'm so glad that I found you, and then it turned out really well. Fast forward a year from now, so
It's a good thing that it worked out.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Sure. And so, okay, so even at that point though, you still really hadn't like experienced coaching at that point. So,
no,
um, how was that process in the beginning? When you kind of you jumped into that first program that I had called the Lifestyle Accelerator,
right.
what were how was that experience for you? Like, let's just start there.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I didn't have idea like what program do you have. So like I like the fact that you were relating to the situation that I was going through. So I feel like I could be connected with you, and I feel like you could understand my situation. So you kind of created that um, environment, or like space for me, so where I can trust you. So it kind of happened synchronously, as we started
Hmm.
talking about that. And until that point, I was not sure about, like, if you had just said, I'm like, hey, I can help you with this and this, maybe I would be like
Hmm.
skeptical. But the conversation flew so naturally, and I feel like I wanted to share with you the situation I was going through. And my wife was like, so you have to get help from, you need to understand more about it. And I was like, okay, I have this time, so I wanted to like get in help with something,
Hmm.
like one-on-one coaching or therapy or something. So, and that's how we kind of connected. And then I kind of liked where our conversation was going through, and I feel like you could really understand some of the patterns. And also like because I was so much focusing on the negative side of, like, hey, I'm going through this, I feel like I'm really bad guy, or like, I don't know why this is happening to me. And but as the conversation was going to it was flowing seamlessly, and I feel like you could be trusted, and the atmosphere was like really safe, where I was opening up, so that was going seamlessly. And then I thought about like, since it was going, and then it's really great, you had this program. So I thought, like, okay, I want to commit to this program, at least because I wanted to make sense out of, like, what is going on. And I'm kind of curious, so like, and also I wanted to finish something I started. So
Hmm.
I'm gonna jump on this coaching program. So yeah, that what got me there.
Yeah, and one place to really speak to are like from that experience, because we worked together for 3 months at that time.
Right.
If you think back to that first program, what were some of the like the wins or just the shifts that happened in that going through that experience for yourself?
Yeah. So so one thing I like about the program was that the curiosity of there, like, because I was looking at life in like a fragmented way. Like, I was thinking, oh, I want to work on my workout, and then I have like the bucket of like education. So I like to be, I'm curious, so I like to learn stuff. So I was looking at life in that way. But I think the beauty of the program, and then I found it like really solid foundation, was when we were the structure of, like, where I'm tracking my habit there every day,
Hmm.
and like how it's connected with the bigger goals, like, and the different categories of the life. I could see the picture of, like, okay, so everything that I'm doing now, it's a building block for the bigger life that I'm going to lay in future. So, and and I liked, I like the concept of psychology. There is something called future self. So
Hmm.
where we think about the life we want, as opposed to like when we, as a human, when you think about, we always try to replay what's in the past, right?
Hmm.
So and I feel like this program was taking me to there, and it was like bingo, it's something I'm interested in. And the other thing I really like, and I like, I want to give you a shout out that the books that you recommend was like, was really great. That was exactly in the right moment, whatever I need to read, and that would solidify my understanding of the program. So that was really great.
Yeah, and what a couple of the things that you're speaking to in that, that we really did touch on in that first program was that quarterly foundation. A part of the
Hmm.
program was really designing, a quarterly structure to life and following that, quarter after quarter.
Yeah,
The
still do
idea
that.
being, yeah, then the idea being that, like, we have our quarter, which builds into
Yep.
the month, which then drops into the week, which drops into the day.
Yep.
So, and as you're kind of touching on that future pacing, looking
Hmm.
into that forward vision and seeing like what is it that we actually want in our lives. So that
Right.
was really a big foundation of that
Hmm.
work. And so, it's, and then so as we kind of go through the year, you completed that program, and we stayed in touch, and you came on the podcast with me. we
Hmm.
did a we did another like sample coaching session. And
Right.
what, like, in that time where we weren't working together, what did you notice? Like, how was life outside of coaching for that time period?
Yeah. So the program kind of gave me like a foundations that I can work on. The really good takeaway for me was to see the, like, how, like, just you what you just described. The quarterly goals goes into, like, monthly, weekly, and daily. So I could see that alignment, and it was turning out really great. And I'll just say in front of the audience, I was like, that helped me to manage my time, my productivity. And I have been taking two projects, and I'm working really, in a in managed way. So my capacity to take the challenges grew significantly. Those my friends who know that I've been like working two jobs thanks to pandemic. And so my capacity was like really solidified. And then I realized, and the books that I was reading, and after that, like, I was also doing like a lot of some spiritual practices, the book. And one thing that stood out around that time was, from the beautiful chapter from the untethered soul. It talks about how our time is so limited. And I was meditating upon that, like, I just wanted to create something out of it, like, because so just to share that, like, so I around the 2020 when I lost the job. So I feel like, I was putting a lot of effort, time, and energy in the job, and then, at the end of the day, it's a job, right? And so that really got me to, like, maybe I should work on something. And so around this time, as I was laying the foundation and doing a lot of work, and, like, managing my time well, I had time to think about what do I want to do, something that I could take on. And so I've been starting like some kind of blogging, and, then I wanted to do something on my own. And then that's when, like, okay, so I wanted to work on my side project. But I was a little hesitant and also fearful, though this idea was coming to me back in 2018. But at that time, like, it was just put it away. You're like, no way I can do that.
Hmm.
But as I was building this foundation and I was seeing the good result, I wanted to give it a try. you know what could I lose? I just wanted to be like a failure than rather not try at all. So that's when, like, okay, and then, after we had this conversation and you told me about, you're doing like a different coaching program, and I was like, maybe I should give it a try. And I wanted to talk with you. And then I think I pinged you over, like, hey, Andrew,
Hmm.
there's something I really wanted to do, so I don't know what to do. So yeah.
Yeah,
That was good.
it was really interesting, because obviously like I have my own sort of growth path, and in that summer, again, like the first program I did, the Lifestyle Accelerator, it's still there. It's still the components are still there. It's still stuff I use, but through my own growth and experience, I and through the coaching program that I went through this year, I really saw an opportunity to bring more of that work into what I was doing, and so that's where I made the shift into creating the authentic being. And it was really interesting because you know again, it's sort of like a morph of the two programs into one. But you messaged me in that September, and you were like, hey,
Yeah.
I want to do this for a year, which was awesome to see. Like, I was sort of taken aback. I was like, okay, like this is exciting for me. And a lot of that came from that conversation that we had in August where, again, this is where I'll speak to sort of the greatness that you are, is like that conversation, we were able to like take a concept of something and really expand like the vision, the capacity of what this thing could be. And like those conversations are rare. Those conversations don't happen every day.
That's
But
really nice of you to say.
yeah, for sure. But I think it really speaks to who you are. And so of course, when you said like, "Hey, I want to do this for another year," I was like, "Absolutely. Like, let's do this." So now, here we are. We've had experience working together, and you've jumped into the authentic being for a year. You've made that commitment. And now we've been at it for about 4 or 5 months within that sort of program framework. I'd love to hear you speak to like what have you noticed from being in this experience? Like what have been some of the shifts for you?
Oh, that's been like a really great. So I feel like finally I'm home. When I say home, I mean like I can really own the aspect of being myself. Otherwise I wouldn't be comfortable doing the live.
Hmm.
I didn't imagine that. So there's been like a really transformation shift. As we go through like our weekly coaching program. I would just leave with like the wow experience, because there's so much out there like we really don't think about it. And as a human being, we like to think we know everything about ourselves, about the world, but so much we don't know. And so much of the experience has been like that. And so I learned to be open minded. Whatever
Hmm.
comes, just be open minded and know more about yourself. And I like to quote what Daniel Gilbert, the Harvard psychologist, says. We human beings are work in progress, and we mistakenly think we are finished. So the being aspect of that, like we find so much about ourselves. What do we and the really breakthrough for me, I would say, was when we talk about the shadow self. That the part of our psyche that we don't want to think about. And so I realized that, and the book that you recommended me, the Chasing the Dark Side of the Dark Side of the Light Chaser by Davy Ford, that was an amazing book. Because I feel like we I mean, I really had the tendency to hide the dark self, the part of myself that I really don't like. And it's so natural to hide that away. And we just it doesn't get enough awareness around that. So when I was doing that, the practices that we had for that time, though they were really tough. It's not going to be
Hmm.
easy, but I think it was really worth it. Finding how both sides are really part of that. The bigger picture of who we are. And so that's where the shifting started to happen. When I started to own that. Like, so that was the wow experience. Like that was the Erica moment for me. So
Hmm.
that's really great.
And what have you noticed about your relationship to others from that experience of seeing all of like humanity, so to speak.
Yeah, so I would say that, as human beings, we like to be good, we like to be recognized, we like to be loved, we like to be cherished, we like to be celebrated, but when we look into others, and it's so naturally that we can't judge others without, and it's just the part of the conditioning, because it's not our fault, it just happened naturally, and because so uh, I think, when I started to understand these, why I'm likely to judge others on the face value, because I'm not owning that part of myself.
Hmm.
It's happens because I'm not looking into that, the tendencies, that the bad habit, or that the not so good tendency of me as a being human to judge others, I mean judge me, for my any mistakes, right? So if I say I'll do something and I don't do, then I feel really bad and I hate myself. And this kind of projects onto others. When we see the same patterns, somebody else is doing, we are likely to judge them for, for not keeping up their commitment. But we don't know the situation they're going through, life can happen, so, and just they just keep piling up, for a period of time, and it just become natural because it goes deep into our subconscious, and this that's how the patterns are formed. So before we get into that, like, we have to understand. And so a lot of the exercises that I did was really sitting with myself, and the tough emotions of trying to see my darker side of these tendencies, and it we coined them as like survival mechanism, right? So,
Hmm.
and these were like why I'm judging other, because it's the part of me that I'm not owning. So, I was trying to, as I was sitting with myself and being gentle when these thing comes up, then I was able to see, that's part of being human. Is, we have flaw, but it just, that flaw also make us beautiful, together, because we also have the good side. And once we try to embrace them, we see we can connect with the others and be kind and compassionate with others, and that's how we can love others, so yeah, that was a really great understanding from this program.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely. I mean, I remember those conversations, a few months back where we were sort of, you know, your capacity to see good and sort of be in like the pursuit of um, development, right? It almost like it sort of pushed aside the survival side of it, the shadow side of it, and so it was such an amazing moment when it was almost like the light bulb was like, oh, like there's both. I can be with both of these, and like what a life to be lived when I can see all of this in others as well and for
Yeah.
myself. So that's really powerful.
Yeah, not gonna lie,
Um,
there were some like tough times, I was like, I don't want to come to coaching tonight.
yeah,
But yeah.
but you show up every time, right? And that's pretty powerful. Um, we'll start to sort of wind down the conversation here, but any other, shifts or awarenesses that you've had, over the last 4 or 5 months that we've been working with each other?
I would say so far, this has been like the really profound one. And
Hmm.
hey, it's only been 4 months, and we have like still, 8 more months to go. So
Yeah,
we'll see what comes out of it. So
awesome, man. And speaking to that, I'm just really curious in terms of that future vision, being that we've been in this for 4 months now and we've covered some tools to really get connected to future vision. What do you see as some of the possibilities that are going to be created in your life in the next 8 months?
yeah, so I've already started working on some of them. So
Hmm.
I see it's happening there, and yeah, I'm really excited. Like where this, what is this preparing me to do out there. It's it's up to us, and as we can, as whatever Napoleon Hill, I believe it's Napoleon Hill, who says whatever the mind can conceive can achieve. We have to do. Given that we do the work, so being in this coaching program has really helped me to go get out there and chase the dream. So I've been working on so my dream project that's been like to develop an like personal development, like habit forming and productivity app. So that's what I'm working on beside my work. And I've also joined entrepreneur group called Noble Goldman.
Hmm.
And so it's been another like-minded platform, where it's found by the principle of Napoleon Hill. So I'm really, and there are a lot of positive people trying to push each other. So I'm part of that. So, and that's what I've been working on. And so hopefully within couple months, my app will be out there. So I'm really excited about that.
Awesome, man. Um, okay. Anything else you want to share about anything? Yeah, yeah, just anything that's sort of coming up for you as we kind of wind this down.
Yeah, so maybe I can just talk about the app that I want to that I'm
Hmm.
working on and my vision with the app. So I'm really interested with the personal development, and that's what got me started in the first place to do something in life. So I like philosophy and spiritual aspects. So I feel like they lay the foundation in life, because if we don't, I mean, so much things happen in the life, right? They can easily drain us down. Um, so we need to have the practices, the good practices, or the solid foundations if you want to build a successful life. So, and that's what got me, like as a person, when I was in my personal transformation journey, personal development, I struggle a lot to form a discipline, and the first thing I got was to learn meditation, though I sought for like almost several months. So what I understood, and from my experience, discipline lays the foundations
Hmm.
in life. So once we can maintain that discipline, our mind and body works in harmony to manage the attention, so that we can create what we want in life. So, and the vision for my app is to make this habit uh, forming discipline so easily, so that so I have used the concept of like gamification to make it more interesting, where people can come together, like push each other to the form of good habits around anything they want. And and hopefully that will help them to make more goals in life, and where they can exercise this discipline in any areas of their life easily
Hmm.
and while having fun. So that's the idea of my app, and I'm passionately working towards it. So
Cool. And where can people find that app?
So right now I been sharing some of the contents on Instagram.
Hmm.
The name of the app is Stretch.io. So it's like really about helping you to stretch or your comfort zone. So so it's called Stretch.io. So you can look up with that stretch underscore yo underscore. So I've been putting out some contents there about so many personal development stuff right now. So, and once we launch the app, so you'll get the news will be out there when the app will be launched, and more from there, so you can follow my work there.
Awesome. So that's stretch underscore yo on Instagram. And what
Yep.
if people would want to connect with you? Can people connect with you on Facebook, email? Like what is an available way that people could connect with you if they wanted to find out more about you, just be in the same space as you?
Right. Yeah. So I'm also part of the Noble No More Mr. Nice Guy, so they can find me and my Facebook. So it's my first name Sarad and last name Dhungel, so they can find me there and connect on Facebook. So I think that's more easier to find me there.
Awesome, man. Okay. All right. Anything else to share or you good to close for here?
yeah, I think this has been like a really great conversation. I'm so glad to share, some of my things that what I'm up to, and my experience with this coaching experience. So
Awesome. Yeah, and make sure, I know I've mentioned this to you before, make sure to share the links with me so I can put them
yeah.
on the comments for these videos. You also didn't mention your Instagram page. You're welcome to mention the other one if you'd like. You don't have to.
Yeah, actually, I'm just doing more work on the stretcher, so that would be the good one. So yeah,
Cool. Okay, sounds good. All right, guys. Well, thanks again to Sarad for joining us on this interview.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks, Andrew.
absolutely. Please feel free if you got any comments, if you have any questions about what you've heard, and if you're looking to connect with Sarad, you can either reach out to me, or reach out in some of these ways that he's presented here. So thanks so much, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we'll talk to you soon.